native land we stand on so that we could honor ancestors that were here before us, and bring attention to the Ottawa, Potawatomi, and Menominee. Next, I'd like to bring introductions to staff and our board that are here today. I'm Millie Gonzalez. I'm the Executive Director of Help of Door County. Cassie Hitzman, our coordinator of our Domestic Violence Intervention Program, Visitation and Exchange, is with her telephone. Mariah in the purple shirt right there with the cutie patootie Callista is one of our advocates. Brenda with the cool Help of Door County shirt is our fiscal manager and our mother hen of the office. I know Annie was covering the office. She'll be here as soon as possible, but she is another one of our advocates that are here today. And our board of directors, if you could lift your hands up when I see you. Moy Zahler over there. Thank you for being a part of our board. Dawn Harenga, Mary Ellen Smith, Charlotte Barrow, our chair Gwen Severson, John Hauser. And I want to say that's it for our board of directors today. Did I miss anybody? Okay. And then if you could look at my fire kiddos and my Sparks kiddos, all of my youth leadership kids, if they could go ahead and raise their hands. Awesome. Look, we have one over there in the back. Cool. So a lot of you guys might know who FIRE is. FIRE actually stands for Forging Youth Relationship Education. It's a teen leadership, teen-led youth program, and they're here today. Cool. And then Sparks, and actually the funny story is that we were at a teen event and one of the youth that raised their hand said something, you can't have a fire without a Sparks, and I want to start a Sparks program at Help of Door County, and this year it came into fruition. So Samara's right there. That program goes from 7-year-old to 10-year-olds, same kind of leadership program, and we actually collaborated with the YMCA at the free lunch program, and Xiomara was able to read books about kindness and start her activism really young. So just thank you for bringing attention to the Help family here. I'm really excited to be here. I also want to bring some attention to Nella Kalpic over there, beautiful lady in the green dress. She's here with Marcy's Law, and we think it's super important that we bring up attention on the crime victim rights that we have in the state of Wisconsin. So if you want, please stop by a Silhouette and just snap it with your phone to get information, more information about the advocacy and more information on Marcy's Law.
Thank you, Millie.
You're welcome. I'm just really honored to be here at this time in this agency. I think like we're in a really cool, exciting, important moment in history in Door County at Help of Door County. And it's all because of the good and hard work that our board and all of our supporters have been putting in. So just recognizing that not only are we doing advocacy, like our mission talks about advocacy when it comes to domestic violence, but also recognizing the roots of oppression that are tied into domestic violence, right? So any of you that have heard me talk on radio and everything, I talk about how different roots of domestic violence lead to violence and sexual violence in our community, and also how it creates extra barriers. So it's super important for us to speak out on issues like racism, like heteronormativity, like patriarchy, and these big words. And if any of those words are confusing, please know you could go up to any of our youth, our FIRE youth, ask them what they mean, and they will give you a quick lesson on what that is, because that's what they've been doing around the state. So like I said, I'm just really excited to be a part of an organization that's supporting the good work that we need to do in the movement work around the state. And a little piece about that is also our speaker today. Our speaker today is Jessica Kretson-Meyer. She's the first trans woman to run for Congress in the state of Wisconsin. Let's give it up for that. That's amazing. I met Jessica we were actually chosen as Wisconsin's most resilient women and Women's Equality Day this year. And I was just honored to be on a panel with her. She was so vulnerable and open and honest about her experiences with domestic violence. And I said, would you like to share your story in Door County and with help of Door County? Because we know it is so hard to share our stories of resilience, especially when it comes in our own communities, because of the biases and because of the stigmas that people facing abuse still face today, right? So we're hoping that the events like these that bring awareness to domestic violence give survivors a voice, and that's what Jessica is here to do today. So thank you, Jessica. If you want to come on up.
Sure, thank you. You're welcome. Well, hello. Can everybody hear me all right? Yes. Are we good on the mic? All right. Well, it's a beautiful fall day out here today, isn't it? Yes. So I want to say thank you so much to Millie Gonzalez for inviting me to speak here today. To help with Door County for hosting this wonderful event, and for every survivor and ally out here showing your support. That really means a lot for all of us. So before I start, take a second, look around you, look into this crowd, and knowing we have such strong solidarity in the community is really inspiring. No one here is fighting alone. And together, we will do the critically important work of affirming, protecting, and uplifting survivors. So, my name is Jessica Kretson-Meyer. I'm a candidate running for Wisconsin's 5th Congressional District. So, for those who don't know where that is, I live in the western Milwaukee suburbs, so it kind of goes from there, from like West Dallas all the way out to the Dane County line. It's a 6-county area, about 1,300 square miles I have to cover. So it's a very, very big district. And I am a woman, and I'm a part of the LGBTQ community. I'm also a survivor of domestic violence myself. I am transgender. And my journey to becoming the confident woman that you see in front of you today has definitely not been easy. My ex-spouse, she did not approve of any of the non-traditional gender expression. And every time I tried to get in touch with my feminine side, I was punished for it. I was in my own home. I couldn't even do so much as to try on a dress or apply lipstick. For years, I would be berated, threatened, and eventually even hit by someone who is supposed to love and protect me. I even have a scar on my forehead from a time when my ex threw a cup at my forehead. It was a hard cup, like a coffee cup. So, one of those scars that will forever remind me of that. But, you know, we move on and we learn to become stronger from that. I eventually mustered up the courage to leave that marriage. I had to move back in with my parents. I struggled with debt. I was at about $10,000 worth of debt out of that divorce that I had to deal with. There were times I even second-guessed myself and wondered if continuing to suffer for the sake of making things work would have even been worth it. Even though, and I start with a quote, making it work, end quote, had not been working for me. I was depressed, and my self-confidence was in complete shambles. With personal strength and community support, I was able to pull myself back up. In the years following, I was able to be financially independent once again. I started enjoying old hobbies again, and finally beginning my transition. I found music as a way to heal for myself. I learned how to sing back in 2008 and found that to be very healing for me to moving on from my situation. All the victories along the way were fought for with everything I had emotionally and mentally as well too. Eventually, I was able to start dating again, wore dresses and makeup in public. And I even ran for office last year. I ran for State Assembly District 15 last year. I am eternally grateful for the people who supported me along the way. And I know I could not have done this alone. This is why it's so important for all of us to stand together. We need to show solidarity with each other and everyone else who is impacted by abuse and violence. We need to support the funding of the community resources and development of policy that protects the most vulnerable. This is something that I'll definitely be committing to when I'm elected to Congress next fall. And I am a person that I say what I do. Actions speak louder than words. We need to back political candidates who support the needs of survivors. We need to teach today's younger generations what it means to respect each other's bodies and minds, as well as to protect their own by establishing and maintaining boundaries. Again, and I stress this enough, no one can do this alone. As it is, more than 30% of men and almost 40% of women in Wisconsin report that they have been on the receiving end of violence from an intimate partner at least once. In our country, there are about 21,000 calls a day made to domestic violence hotlines. Although these are terrifying numbers to hear, but it is because of decades of hard work that we even know them in the first place. Activists have fought tooth and nail for increased transparency and the release of crime statistics related to domestic violence. Efforts to create and fund community resources, such as hotlines, were not always successful. We, as survivors, supporters, are the key to leading change, making our neighborhoods, state, and country a safer place for everyone. We cannot change our past, but we can look towards changing our future. Politicians and elected officials like to talk about accountability and justice and support, and we need to apply pressure to make sure that they follow through. This is part of why I ran for office last year, and this is why I'm doing it again now. It is one of the many ways we can create change. And I gotta say, I wanna add on to that too, that last year when I ran for state assembly, it really helped me overcome a lot of my self-confidence issues. I appreciate your support, and I look forward to working with all of you to achieve healing justice for all survivors. Thank you. And thank you. And I was gonna say, for those who want to follow me with my congressional campaign, my Facebook page is my first name and my last name, Jessica Kretson-Meyer. That starts with a K. And then my website is www.jessica4wis.com. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. And I'll definitely be walking with y'all.
This is the fun part. Not to say that Jessica and I were not fun, but this is the part that I always look so forward to. John and Patty, are you guys here? Yeah, right there in the middle. If everybody could look at John and Patty, raise your hand. We're here to recognize some pretty amazing people. John and Patty met in 1977 and have been married for 37 years. Patty started her career as a teacher and reading specialist. John worked in non-destructive inspection and quality control. They fell in love with Sturgeon Bay, wanted to stay here to raise their family, and what they thought and still think was the best possible place to do so. They bought their first hotel, Snug Harbor Inn, in 1991 and have focused the past 30 years on reinvesting in the community. They have poured time and resources into revitalizing and saving 3 hotels that have been part of Door County's tourism landscape for decades. They have provided jobs for countless in the community, being previously recognized for the mentorship they provide their employed youth. They pride themselves on seeing the best in their employees and giving chances to those that others won't. John and Patty have been a resource for people down on their luck and in the community, working with various agencies to provide them with accommodations, privacy, and respect in times of difficulty. Additionally, they have striven to provide affordable housing for their employees and others in the community when this is becoming increasingly more difficult to find. They are often involved in helping their friends, employees, and community in the way that it is not seen publicly, but aligns with their Christian faith and values that everyone deserves respect and a second chance. So that's the bio, and now I get to talk from the heart about John and Patty Hansen. So So I first started hearing John and Patty's name right when I started at the organization. I didn't know who John and Patty were, but I was hearing their names constantly by our clients. Clients that I was serving in the jails would say about the opportunities they would have with employment. Clients that I would see for emergency crisis, when we were wondering where we would be able to find a safe home, they said, I worked with John and Patty and I think I'll be able to figure something out. Safe home times when we didn't have a place to put pets and they're like, let's have this conversation. I think they're safe people. I'll be able to find work and I'll be able to be seen as a person. When I would safety plan, because I kept hearing John and Patty's name and I would say, hold on, I keep hearing their name. Would they respect your confidentiality? Do I have to safety plan, right? Because I didn't know them personally. And even though I didn't know them personally for those 5 years, I got to know their heart. I got to hear about their soul. I got to hear about their spirit. And I'm sure that every advocate here can attest that they've heard about the good works of John and Patty. And it didn't take too long till I was reaching out myself to John and Patty to see how we can further collaborate within the community and help those that we constantly serve together, just in different aspects. And I can't think of a better recipient than John and Patty Hansen for this year's Hancock Social Justice Award. I think the most important part of this and about John and Patty is that they're regular people, folks. Oftentimes we think that in order to be a social justice advocate or hero, you need to be a good speaker. You need to be a good dresser. You need to be a director. You need to be an activist. You need to be marching and picketing and signs and at protests. But let me tell you something that is so false, that is so wrong. You need to be yourself. So thank you, John and Patty, for being yourselves. Because I know that you have saved lives. I have been told that you have saved lives, and I have seen it firsthand. So please come up and get your award. I'm truly honored to be able to give this to you today.
Just real quickly, we'd like to say that what we have done pales in comparison to what the people that work in the organization do, the wonderful things they do, and I can't imagine the things you see, the things you deal with, and you're able to keep doing that and coming back every day. That's so impressive. So, like I say, our contributions pale in comparison to what you all do. The one thing I would like to ask people, if you know somebody in power, if you know somebody who's a mover and shaker in town, so often we have people brought to us late at night with mental health issues, and there's nowhere to go except jail or Brown County. And they don't necessarily need jail or Brown County, but there's nobody to help them. And this doesn't happen once, it doesn't happen twice, it happens a lot. And we like to help, but we're really not suited to help somebody in that situation. It would be really nice to see in the county if there was a place people could go besides a hotel where they have the care, they have somebody that can help them get through that immediate crisis that might only last 4, 6, 8, or 12 hours and it can then be worked out. But we see it so often. And our police do a really good job of working with these people. They don't want to take them to jail, and they necessarily can't take them to Brown County, but they need some place to go, somebody to help them. And again, we're more than happy to help, but it's not really, we're not always the best place for them. And I'd really like to see somewhere over time that become a thing. So there are people at 3 o'clock in the morning that need some mental help with their mental health issues, and that they get that help. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. So we're gonna go ahead and line up and commence our walk. And thank you again for showing up today for survivors and to be able to honor this year's Hancock Social Justice Award winners, Patty and John Hansen.